down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of Talk Bloody to Me. I am Matt,
And I'm Breezy.
and Breezy is wearing her clown outfit. I just have white and black, but Breezy
Yep.
has her clown art outfit.
Well, it's not really well, I do have an art, but this is like the actual female version.
Okay.
I got this type of hat, and I also got like this big, huge, like
Oh, nice.
bow, you know, but
Yeah.
I actually wore this at CryptoCon, I want to say 2022. Yeah. Now
Okay.
it's a female version, and a lot of people loved it. So, but I do
Awesome.
have the male version too, but
Oh, nice.
I'm not putting any makeup on because it's too much work. So there I am.
There you go. And today we're talking about Terrifier 2.
Yep.
Um, as we talked about Terrifier 1 all the way back in our very first episode. So if you want to check that out, feel free to look for that. And everyone's talking about Terrifier 3. It's big hit at the box office right now. It's very
Oh
popular.
yeah.
Yeah. But we didn't want
And
to.
you have seen it too, right?
Oh, yeah. Me and Aaron went and
Okay.
saw it. So,
Yep. So did I.
yeah. And I think it's safe to say we both pretty much loved it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, but we figured we want to give people time to see Terrifier 3 before we dive into it and spoil it and ruin everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And since we hadn't talked about Terrifier 2 yet, why not talk about that?
Yeah, why not?
So, Terrifier 2, when did you first see Terrifier 2, Breezy?
I actually seen that in theaters.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I was reading it was like supposed to be just a really limited theatrical release for just like one weekend, and it was so popular like they just kept going and going and going and going, and it ended up being the most profitable movie of 2022.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't.
Yeah. I didn't see it until just this last couple, like 2 years ago. I think I finally saw it. There was a lot of people at Crypticon. Laura Laverne, what's her name?
Yeah, Laura, Livora, Sienna, and then David Harlan Thornton wasn't there, which I wish you would have,
Oh
because
yeah.
that would have been the biggest hit right there. I would love to meet him.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you
Uh
got Elliot. Elliot was there too.
yep.
And I
Elliot
think it,
Fullman, who plays Jonathan, Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna. And what were you saying?
oh, I think there was a couple other people. Don't quote me on it, but I
Yeah,
know those two for sure.
Leah Vossi. I might not be saying her name right, but she's the one that sings the Clown Cafe song, and then she's at the end. She's
Oh,
the nurse.
okay.
She was
Yep.
there. Yep.
Yep.
So I met her, and then I didn't meet Lauren Lavera per se, but my friend Trevor got her autograph and talked to her for a long time, and I stood there like a moron, like durr, and listened. So she seemed really nice though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've been hearing. She's really, really nice.
Yeah. So Terrifier 2 picks up right where the first one ends, where Art the Clown is coming back from the dead with some supernatural energy. And then he meets a little female version, which I is called in the credits the little pale girl.
Yep.
And
A
it
lot of
seems,
when I was wearing this cosplay at CryptoCon, that's
mm,
what people were kind of remind them of. I'm like, I can see that, but no,
yep,
I'm like the female version of art. I
right,
mean, I could play really well as her too.
right. You could. I think she has red hair, right?
No, I don't. I think she
Maybe
was
not.
like blonde or something like
I
that.
just watched it. You'd think I'd remember. It's too much
Right.
gore.
Yeah. I'm more focused on the gore, not, some chicks that care.
Yeah. But it seems like only Art can see her, and she's something kind of weird, like supernatural, something or another. But right away, one of the very first scenes I absolutely love is Art is all covered in blood and gore, so he goes to the old laundromat and he basically strips down and is doing his laundry, sitting there reading the paper. I just thought
Well,
that was so funny.
Well, first it was like he comes back and he like kills out one guy.
Oh yeah, he
And then
brutally
he
murders the guy in the morgue. We can't forget about that. It's
Yep. And then he writes art in blood instead
Mhm.
of his own poop in the beginning of the movie. Like shit or whatever it was. I don't want to know. It's probably shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the second one, he put art in blood and he really fucking murdered that guy. Then it
Yeah.
goes to laundromat, which he's like,
Right.
naked. And then the girl comes up and he's like doing this. And
Yeah.
then it cuts to this guy that's sitting there and looking at him like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? And she's not there. So yeah, it's like an imaginary, probably friend type deal.
Yup. And she yeah, he when he attacks that guy in the morgue, he just really rips his whole head apart. Rips Oh, one of my favorite parts too is when he comes back because he got shot in the head. So he's missing an eye. So then he rips the
Yep.
guy's eyeball out and puts it in his eye socket and points at it, and it's all big and goofy looking. He's like, look at that. And it's really gross, but really funny at the same time, which Terrifier is able to do that somehow.
Yep. Well, also he was like playing with, it's like a whole back of his head too. He was like
Oh
playing
yeah.
around in there too.
Yeah. Um, so then eventually you meet Sienna, and she, like, her dad was like an artist and would draw an angel character for her and said she was going to draw up, and so she's making her Halloween costume based off of this, and it's going to be an angel costume. And her brother is into like gore and gross stuff, and he's into this legend of the clown murderer, aka Terrifier 1.
Hmm.
And one thing that's really interesting is Terrifier 1 starts off with the interview of the victim whose face is all messed up. And then it kind of turns out that the whole movie of Terrifier is a flashback of how that happened. Well, Terrifier 2 was basically taking place at the same time as that news report because they're like referencing it. Like they're saying,
Yep.
"Oh, did you see that lady on the news? Oh my gosh, her face was all messed up. What the hell happened?" and stuff. So,
Yeah, Sienna's like costume. It's like at first it was like an angel because she had like beautiful wings and stuff. And
hmm
she had like the sword and everything. And
hmm
then she like went to sleep and then she went into that like nightmare. And that's when the whole like Art Krispies came about
Yup.
and that
The Clown Cafe.
yeah, the clown cafe. It's just
Yeah.
like the whole song, like it's so weird.
I know it is.
But it's like, hey, a clown cafe, and it's like
Food's a little funny. Food's a little funny at the
at the
Clown
clown
Cafe.
cafe.
Yeah, I've been had that in my head all day.
Oh wow.
And
But
then the Art Krispies, that's actually when they do the Art Krispies commercial, that's David Howard Thornton's voice. So
yep.
even though he doesn't talk as Art, you get to hear his voice there. That's fun trivia.
So like the Art Krispies, like the kid goes in there and like just eats and continues eats it, but it's not like an actual cereal. It's actually like razor blades or chopped up glass. And he said that.
Yeah.
I'm like, Speaking of Art Krispies, I actually seen like a purse
Uh-huh.
of Art Krispies at Spirit Halloween.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of that Terrifier 2 movie, Art Krispies.
I can totally see you rocking the Art Krispies purse.
I want to wear it. I'll
Yeah,
probably just have it in my horror room. That's it.
there you go. He hands out food at the Clown Cafe, and then he basically pulls out a machine gun and shoots everyone, and it's like really graphic.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's like brutally graphic.
But Cena's like the only one that's like still kind of living through all that stuff.
Yep,
She got away.
somehow she manages to hide and get away. And then he lights the singer on fire, and she's just dunk 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 dunk
Hmm.
dunk dunk while she's burning away. Just dunk 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 dunk.
And then Cena like woke up and then like her stuff is on fire, which that
hmm
control ruined her angel wings.
Yeah,
And then somehow like she has type of like supernatural powers too on top of when she like wears it.
yeah,
Not so much like the outfit, but I feel like it's the outfit, but it's more so the sword.
yeah. they say that she got the sword from her dad, and that the dad drew this character, and then later they show the dad's sketchbook, and he has sketches of Art the Clown and of the angel. And Jonathan, Sienna's brother, says that their dad knew about this kind of stuff and had visions, and they're like, "Oh, dad was nuts." And then later on, they say that he was like insane and would have visions, and then he drove his car into like a electrical thing and like burnt alive or something like that. But it's implied that something somehow he had some sort of like supernatural visions or whatever about Art and about Sienna, and he had this sword and gave it to her. And so now she has some
Yeah.
sort of like supernatural, she has some mojo for fighting Art the Clown.
I kind of like that though. I like how like Cena puts that like outfit on where to do like well, because she was going to a Halloween party. And
Hmm.
then she went to this Halloween store, like the store. This is
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite. This is my favorite scene, by the way.
Okay, I can
So,
see why.
yeah. So she goes to this Halloween store, and then obviously Art shows up,
Hmm.
and she was going to pay that, and Art comes up, and she's like, "Oh, I forgot my bag." Well, freaking, my bag is downstairs. Well, really, she didn't want to go downstairs, but she kind of have wanted to and have
Hmm.
to pay for her wings and other stuff. And
Yep.
then here comes Art, drops the freaking bag, and then goes to like all these like glasses, and he was like putting those, funky little glasses on. That's where the whole sunflower glasses came about.
Yeah.
And he was like doing like this and just like being a goofball.
Yeah.
I just I just love it. I just can't.
When he's standing there with the sunflower glasses, and he's somehow so just silly looking and yet so creepy looking too.
Hmm.
Just like, and then he has one of those little things that you blow and it goes "Flirp," and then the guy says, "Sir, if you put that in your mouth, you have to pay for it." He goes like "Flirp," and it like flies out of his mouth, and he tries to catch it.
Yeah, and well, when when Sienna leaves, like when it was his time to go up to the cash register,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Are you gonna pay for that stuff?" And then he was trying to like grab through his bag and by pulling out all this other shit, and then here and there some couple of change. He goes, "Come on, what?" And then
Hmm.
he goes, "Are you?" He goes, just
Yeah.
just like the whole that whole fucking scene, like, and the killing too was really good.
Yeah, it's another really graphic, really brutal one where he really gets his hands on action.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and eventually you get to you meet Sienna's friends. Some stuff happens. There's some story. It's kind of interesting because Terrifier 1, there's just really hardly any story. It's just like the loosest, like Art the Clown sees these two women he likes, and then he murders a bunch of people in a abandoned building.
yep.
Terrifier. There's a woman with a messed up face. The end. But now this
Yeah,
one
but I still
actually.
kind of like Terrifier
Oh, I,
1
I love
though.
Terrifier 1 though, but I'm just
But
saying
yeah,
this one
it
has a
does
little bit
have,
more like storyline to it.
yeah, Terrifier 2 has more of a storyline too.
Yep.
Same goes with Terrifier 3, but we will get there at one point.
Exactly. But I can't remember her friend's name, but the one Art goes she was at the store when Art was there, and then he goes like trick or treating, and she's like, "No, you're too old to get candy." And then there's just like the most messed up horror thing of a scene. Like, Breezy, why don't you talk about what happened?
No, you can, because I like to hear you talk about it.
Yes. Well, she like goes and she basically is like, "Oh, you gotta get out of here," and whatever. And then she goes in the house, and Art's just there, like in her kitchen, having a drink of water, which is just really creepy. And then also he turns around, he's got a knife, and he's like, "Swish, swish," like that, like,
Yeah,
"Oh," you know.
yeah.
And then he chases her, and he cuts the hell out of her. And then he basically scalps her, rips her scalp off, cuts her top of her
That's
head
that's
off.
Sienna's friend though.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. I was going to talk about that too, but yeah, like he cuts like her head like up here and he peels it off.
Yep. And then
And then I'm like, oh my God. And then like he just stabs the shit out of her. And you
yeah.
see like this blood splatters all over the fucking wall. And
Hmm.
then like the one thing it's like gets me like cringe, but I fucking love it though. I like shit when it gets me cringy. When he
Hmm.
takes it and just snaps it
Oh
and
yeah,
just
that
like,
made me cringe too.
yeah, I was like, oh my God, but I want more of it.
Yeah.
And then he like walks away and then he grabs a fucking bleach and the salt and then just like I'm like, ouch.
And there's enough of a space in between that the timing is just like, because he that part that you said that's so cringe, he breaks her arm and then he actually rips it off, and I'm over here like squirming in my chair like, "Ugh."
Really?
Yeah. You know how I get. And then it's like he leaves, and then there's enough time where she's like crawling on the floor and
Yep.
she's like struggling. And you kind of think maybe he left, and all of a sudden he comes back and he's got bleach and salt and he's all happy, like, yay, look at me. And he just like smashes it in her back and rubs it in.
Yeah. That's that has to hurt, and I know for a fact that would hurt, but
Yeah.
in real life, but fucking hey, that scene was epic. I love it.
Yeah. One of the goriest, most brutal scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie ever.
Well,
I,
besides Terrifier 3, but
Right. I was just gonna say possibly even more than Terrifier 3, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that.
what?
Well, I don't know. I think
I
that
would
it's iffy. There's some crazy shit. We'll talk about it though.
I was gonna say
But
I think Terrifier 3 has more fucking more
this one though
s-
cringed me out worse. I don't know why. It did the peeling and the breaking and the but
well,
anyway,
yeah, probably because of that's more cringy.
right. But and then the kicker, the icing on the cake is her mom comes home and she's like still alive, and she's like basically one arm's missing, her top of her head's missing, and she like had kind of open, she's like "Mom, mom," like that. It's like,
Yeah,
ugh.
and she was sitting on the bed too. I
Yeah,
think. I believe.
yeah. What else
Jeez.
happens? Gotta take a breather after that one. Whew.
Not
Come
really.
on.
I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck? Come on, keep
Breezy's like,
going.
more. Come on. What else? What
More.
else you got?
But yeah, I and then she seeing us at this party,
Hmm.
and Elliot's Jonathan is somewhere. It's been like last week since I've seen it. He was like
He
somewhere.
he got grounded because Art and the little pale girl showed up in the squirrel with like a dead raccoon and were throwing its
Oh,
guts all around.
oh, I thought it was like a badger
Oh, maybe it
or
was
or a
some kind of
possum,
animal,
like a possum.
some road, yeah, maybe a possum, some roadkill
Yeah.
looking thing.
Yep.
And so then they disappeared, and so it looked like he did it, so he got in trouble. By the way, their mom is probably one of the most realistic moms because she swears like a motherfucker. She's like, "You
Oh
fucking
yeah.
kids, god damn it, get the fuck over here, you shitheads!"
Yep.
Like,
That is me to a T.
right? It's like, oh
Yep.
my god, that's a real mom right there.
Yeah. But yeah, like seeing us going to this like Halloween party, and she was having fun and stuff. And obviously she was drinking, and then obviously like there's like heavy drugs and stuff. And then like her mom during this time, like her mom like was in the garage, and you got full of fucking like soap, but it's also not like soap, but it was other shit on
Oh
top of the
yeah, the
car.
car, like just smashed pumpkins,
Yeah.
and then toilet paper and shaving cream and some random crap that you God only knows what it is.
Yeah, I would be pissed too because that's a lot of fucking work to clean that shit up.
Yeah.
And then she calls you, and I'm like, "Oh, you been drinking? Oh, mom, I just love you." Whoa, whoa. And then, but that killing scene too is pretty epic too.
Yeah.
When Art kills the mom.
Yeah. She goes to where did Steve, I want to call him Steve because he reminds me of Steve Smith from American Dad, but Jonathan, her brother, where did he go? Where was he during all this? But he got blamed for it because she thought he was acting out again like the badger. Um And so she goes to clean it off, and she's got a bucket of water, and she starts to wipe the stuff off the window, and she cleans it just enough that you can see Art the clown sitting in the driver's seat smiling, and then also he holds up a sawed-off shotgun and
Boom.
blammo! And it's a big blammo. It's like a cannon, and
Yeah.
piece of head go flying.
And I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah. And then when Jonathan comes home, he has her set up like at the dinner table, and then Art brings out mashed potatoes, like all happy, like, and he starts dishing them up, and then he smashes them right in her where her face used to be.
Yeah, man.
Can you
I love
imagine
it.
coming home and seeing that?
Nah, I'd be like, coming if I come home and see that, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? And who did this?
Yeah, right. That's a very rational response.
What about you?
I'd be like, what? I'd probably like spaz out, and I would either attack the clown or run away. One or
I
the
can see you
other.
running away. I'm sorry, but I can
Right?
see
Yeah.
you running away.
It's
Me, I'll be
every
like,
man for himself.
Art,
Yeah.
give me a hug, Art.
Be like, oh.
So do you like the ending at all?
Yeah, and then so basically there's some more killing. They go um Sienna has like a she sees the little pale girl at the party, so they're going to take her home, and then her friends get murdered. They're out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, they go. That's right. They get a fake. They kidnap him, her brother, and then they take him to the amusement park,
Yep.
and they say they're faking his voice and saying she has to come help him, and he's at the Terrifier, which is a haunted house, and that's where the final scenes take place, and it's pretty epic. Yeah,
Oh
she
yeah.
she gets they both get beat to piss, and she gets stabbed with her own sword, and then she falls into like this hell pit, and then she's back in the clown cafe, and
Yeah, it
she's
like
still on fire.
yeah, it's like that whole scene, it's like it's very, very fast paced and also
Hmm.
like it goes to this quick and this quick and then this quick. I actually kind of really like that how they did that. How David Levone did all that stuff. It's
Yep.
like it's all in one. It's like he sped it up real quick.
Yep. And there's a lot of imagery to deal with like angels and demon. Like she's obviously dressed as an angel and she has the sword and she's like fighting for good. And like there's a part where he's whipping her and stuff, and there's just like Christian symbolism and stuff, and then like the pit to hell, and he's kind of demonic, so it's like this whole angels and demons thing, but really he's a clown and she's a girl, and it's just really
Yep.
cool how it's like the symbolism and the imagery and stuff.
Yeah, and then the storyline all comes to all together too.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. It's like all done on purpose.
Yep.
Yep. So that's
Good one.
anything. What else to say about Terrifier 2? I think, are we missing anything? I think that might be it.
So how did Art die in this movie then?
Oh, yes. So, Sienna ends up getting her sword, which seems to have some sort of holy power because it was glowing and it when it stabbed her in
Yep.
the gut, it glowed and glued. I almost said it glue. It glued, it glowed and healed. And then she kicked Art's ass and chopped him in the neck a few times, and then finally Art, like basically you could tell he knew he was done, so he tilted his head like this and smiled, and she went wham and chopped
That's
his
what I
head
was saying.
off.
Like the whole story like glows like so it makes me like she has to have like some type of really good superpowers of being an angel, you know?
Yup, exactly. So she chopped off Art's head. Little pale girl appears, runs away with Art's head. That was creepy. And then it's like,
Actually, that
oh,
was kind of funny to
right.
me.
But they're like, okay, well, it's all over. Then you get the credits, and then oops, stop the credits. We have another post-credit scene, and it's they're in the hospital where the woman from the beginning of Terrifier 1 and ending of Terrifier with the messed up face has been in her hospital. And the nurse has been dealing with her all day, and she's been acting out, and she basically starts bleeding and basically gives birth to Art the Clown's head, and with
Yeah.
blood everywhere and with everything that entails. Use your imagination.
Yeah, when I seen that, I'm like, oh my God. Then that's
Yes.
why I'm like, I know for a fact that's gonna be a third one.
Yep. And then
And
I won't spoil anything, but I will say Terrifier 3 starts exactly where this ends. Just like
oh
how
yeah.
this one starts
Yep.
exactly where the first one ends. And I love it when movies do that.
Yeah, because it makes sense. I really like that. Instead of
Hmm.
like trying to guess, I'm like, oh, was that in number two or was
Yeah.
that in number one? Is
Or
it,
like,
I like all that. Just go white, smoothly transition into this one.
yeah, exactly.
Like it. So what'd you rate it?
um I almost think I like part one better, to be honest. But I'm gonna say 8.
Eight.
Yeah.
I'll give it about an 8.5.
Okay.
I do like Terrifier 1 a lot more than Terrifier 2. However, it's the whole storyline of just Terrifier in general. It all comes together, just like we see in
Mm-hmm.
Terrifier 3. So it
Mm-hmm.
all makes sense, like all these movies come together. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I do like Terrifier 1 over this one. If I had to choose like a movie day, I would choose Terrifier 1 over 2.
Yeah. I agree. Exactly.
But I don't want to discard Terrifier 2. I will
Oh yeah.
still watch Terrifier 2. It's
Exactly.
just that my main one is the Terrifier 1.
Mm-hmm. One thing too I want to mention before I forget is the soundtrack. I really love the soundtrack. It's this really like synthesizer, kind of reminds me of like 80s style, like just
Yeah.
almost like Stranger Things theme song kind of stuff. It's
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. I like it a lot.
Yep. And then also you have Terrifier on your wall.
Yep, I do. I have Art the Clown's face on my wall, which was from our friend
and he's
Ryan.
and he's just smiling away.
Yep, exactly. After watching that movie, I should be scared to have that on my wall, but I love it.
Nah,
Yeah,
it came from Ryan, so nah.
exactly. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. We've
And
got
also,
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry. And then also, next week is Halloween. We are going to be recording on Halloween, so just make sure. I'm pretty sure you guys not going to hear the next episode. So we want to wish you a happy Halloween and stay safe and always stay spooky.
Exactly. All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.